3 days of Quake, 24 players, and it all comes down to this. 2 players remaining, k1llsen and raisy. k1llsen coming in from the winner bracket to the grand finals. That means he'll have a 1-map advantage. We'll break that down in just a second. Of course, raisy fighting his way, clawing his way, if you will, not only through his own teammates, but through an incredible pool of talent here to face off again versus k1llsen, a rematch from the semifinals. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of it all. The winner is going to grab that belt behind Flea. There it is. And they will be the Season 3 Quake World Champion. Welcome back, Flea and Lethal. We've got quite a series ahead of us. As we mentioned, a rematch between these two. During that game, k1llsen took it 3-1 versus raisy. Still pretty close, but k1llsen looking pretty nice. Let's talk about these players. They're still going through their final picks and bans, so we should be getting there soon. But first, let's just go ahead and talk about these two.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly deserve to be in the grand finals, right? I think there's no doubt about it. The 2 top competitors of the Quake World Championships are here duking it out for that beautiful belt right behind me.
Well, k1llsen has only dropped 2 maps, hasn't he? So can't really complain in that department. He's been doing a phenomenal job throughout the entire process of his competition. The only shaky start he had was against Dan the King, and that was back at the start of day 1, which is quite unheard of here. So it just depends on whether raisy has the stamina to take it. It's not exactly a bracket reset or any of that kind of shenanigans. It has to do with that, obviously, 1 map advantage for k1llsen. And I'm excited for this. It's hard to predict, and it gets to a point where raisy is used to this setup with the amount of second places he's had, always coming from the loser's side. There's a amount of k1llsen can just put a stamp of authority and just end it before raisy gets going.
Yeah, so just to break it down, it's a best of 7, right? However, because k1llsen fought his way through the winner bracket, as an advantage, he automatically gets that map 1 win. That then will be applied all over. So we start the matchup basically k1llsen up 1-0. Now, you mentioned k1llsen has been pretty consistent in his play. He's fought a wide variety, a diverse set of talent here, only losing that very first map to Dan the King. A lot of people are like, wow, I thought k1llsen was #1 seed, but he showed us why he was #1 seed, had something to prove. And raisy, he's either going to be the Quake player who has had more second places in Quake Champions, or he's going to finally break that curse and become the new champion.
5 second place finishes within the history of the Quake Pro League. raisy has come so close time and time again. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but maybe today things will be different.
I hope so for his sake. I think a lot of us have tried to predict how this is going to turn out, but we have absolutely no idea, do we? Even with that 1 map advantage, it doesn't really change the scenario here for raisy, because it's like I said before, not only is he used to this environment, he's used to being in this situation time and time again, and it's the hunger he's had it for. Like Flea's already mentioned, 5 second place finishes. How many more does he need? How many does he want to add to the collection? That's going to be obviously another question here coming into this grand finals. But is it? Is this the time for raisy to finally come out on top?
Yeah, there is I don't know if you heard, because k1llsen did mention it, but a long time ago when k1llsen won again, we talked a little bit about the idea of winning, making it to the grand finals, but then having to kind of stop playing, right? And this idea that, raisy or whoever it was that was fighting through, they got to stay warm and keep going. And it's like, yeah, it's a stamina run. There's endurance involved, but there also is some benefit to stay warm, to stay in that zone, to keep going. I don't think that's necessarily going to come into play, but let's just break down just real quickly for raisy. Other than not only fighting through the lower bracket, he did something else that was a pretty big accomplishment. He even said it right here, that it was something that he was wanting to break through, and that was to defeat Rafa. And he did so 3-2 in some incredibly close games. But it doesn't matter how close it was, you just got to be the winner. So, how do you think that could factor into it? Like, do you think we saw a more complete, a solid, confident raisy after that matchup?
Personally, I do think so. Yes,
Yeah.
that really was a big confidence boost for him. We know that Rafa has been a bit of a roadblock in the past, right? They've been in the grand finals against one another several times, so him finally being able to take down that big boss must have really helped him moving forward, because after beating Rafa, he had to go up against his teammate, Wenger,
Yep.
managed to take him down, then he had to go up against Maxter, who had been having a phenomenal tournament so far,
Yep.
wiped him clean, 3-0, so raisy is absolutely on a roll right now. The only thing that worries me a bit, Wheat, the endurance, the exhaustion, right? Best of 5 games back to back to back against some of the best players in the world, that gets to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it certainly does. And this is why a lot of these players, especially the top level, have been scrimming 3 or 4 times a day, not a week, a day leading up to it. But there's a difference between having the stamina to play all those scrims and having the stamina in a tournament setting. It's an entirely different court in general. So this is where we get to see if his stamina does kick in or not. But it's like you mentioned earlier, Wheat, with the fact that for raisy, he's already warm, he's ready, his aim skill's going to be absolutely solid. And k1llsen, this is what I remember, he needs to put a stamp of authority. He needs to really try and shut him down early if he can. What style are we going to see? Because we see multiple different styles coming out from k1llsen, but the problem is for him now is against a player who's adapting very well to all his opponents. So this is where things are going to shake up a little bit.
Yep. Well, I just got note that picks and bans are ready. Keep in mind, too, because it's a best of 7, it means that, you know, there's no avoiding your worst map or this or that. And so we're going to see a lot. k1llsen, he gets the win, quote unquote, on Veil. That means that the first, or rather second map will be Awoken. Then we're going to go to Corrupted Keep. Insomnia after that. I'm writing these down that's why it's like I sound like an idiot right now. Deep Embrace is going to be raisy for the 4th map. Blood Covenant after that, and should we need to go to a final map, it will be Ruins. Now, other important aspect, of course, is going to be those champion picks. Poor Athena, we didn't get to see you at all during the finals day, but who wants to break these down for us?
No clutch either. That stands out. We've seen raisy player for him for the very first time today. Other than that, starting off on Awoken, we're getting Nyx versus Anarchy, 2 very fast light champions. Then Stroke versus Ranger on Corrupted Keep. Insomnia, the Death Knight, is going to face off against Slash. That's quite a contrast. Deep Embrace, Doomslayer versus Galena. Blood Covenant, Ison versus Visor. And then last but certainly not least, if we get to it, Sorlag versus Keel.
I love how with k1llsen, he's banned Veil in almost every single match at bar 1. And of course, going from the winner's side, it gets the opportunity Wheat. And of course, he bans Veil straight outright, which is not a surprise at all in the slightest. Sadly, won't see the Athena off the bat, which is perfectly understandable. But I'm going to agree with Flea here. The champion choices are quite meta, but the problem is the only one I'm quite unsure of, and we haven't seen much of, is the Death Knight. We've seen a lot of that in Insomnia, but not the Slash, which is a very interesting pick. So it depends how experienced k1llsen is in that matchup. And I don't really see anything come out of woodwork in terms of anything too drastic. Even the final map between the Sorlag and the Kill, we have seen it on rare occasions, but it's not exactly a champion pick on that final map, which heavily unfavors one person in particular.
That's right. I mean, anything else that, you know, a Flea that like sticks out that you're like, oh, this is kind of interesting. We could see that. I mean, definitely the DK Slash comes into mind. Does everything look pretty straightforward? Is there any games there where you're like, this one will be a tough one for raisy, or this one might be a tough one for k1llsen?
Well, let's take a closer look. Galena versus Deep Embrace could be tough if k1llsen gets into the flow of things. If he can maintain consistent control, those totems really aren't going to be that useful for raisy. But that is, of course, provided that k1llsen is able to take them down consistently, because if the tables are turned and things go the other way around, then those totems could really help him out. But on Deep Embrace, I would somewhat favor the Doomslayer. Other than that, really nothing all that special. Ruins of Sarnath, the 2 heavies, the tanks, they had to come out at some point, right? They have done their absolute best at avoiding them till the very final map. Keel, we've actually seen played on Ruins a decent amount, right? There was a time where he was really being picked consistently. Sorlag, not so much, though.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree with this, Fleet, but the champion choices for k1llsen are actually quite heavily in his favour in these first few maps. For Nyx, he's been playing lights out with that champion, especially on Awoken, so this will give him a nice little advantage here and in that comfort zone. And Strog is so good on Corrupted Keep. The PK, the amount of damage you can do in more ways than one without that rail, it can be a very tough task. And Death Knight, again, on Insomnia, very difficult to contend with. So the Slash, I just find that such an interesting way to maybe try and avoid some of the situations there. Doom, pretty standard on Deep Embrace. And we don't see, obviously, a lot of llsen on Blood Covenant, so I kind of feel like raisy does have a slight advantage with that piercing sight on the visor. But the last one is just going to be interesting in itself. But it's not, again, a rarity. Like, Kill isn't a bad pick on Ruins. We've seen it on very rare occasion. It has worked out for some of these players.
Yeah, and with the map advantage that k1llsen gets from being in the upper bracket winner, you know, one thing that comes into mind, too, is momentum, right? It is, in any case, right, we rarely see things like reverse sweeps coming in. So, obviously, a win for k1llsen automatically puts him in that first map, automatically puts him in a great position moving forward, which means that that pressure on Awoken is really on raisy's shoulders, right? To try to stop that short and equalize thing in that first map.
And I really would not be surprised if k1llsen gets that first win.
I
mean, Anarchy is a good pick. Anarchy is a good pick. Let's be clear about it.
k1llsen's
Nyx,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, so many of these top players kind of have like their signature champion, right? For raisy, of course, it's Clutch, which is extremely difficult to use on land, so we haven't seen the robot played all that often, but k1llsen's go-to champion, the one that he is so famous for having mastered, is, of course, Nyx, and that is immediately what he's coming out of, so he's not pulling his punches, right? Flying out of the gates. That's going to be a difficult one for raisy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I respect these two both so much. Do we even do predictions? Maybe we just leave it up to chat right now. Like, this is your moment to spam. Use those channel points that you've undoubtedly, there's got to be some channel point millionaires out there after some of the matches that we have had today, 100%. So whether you are out there supporting k1llsen or supporting Maestro and raisy or Big and k1llsen, like, spam it right now. I hope that I'm not getting people banned right now, but now's the time to show your support, and thank you for being along for the ride all weekend long. It has been absolutely phenomenal. We've said it time and time again, but I'll repeat it one more time. It's definitely been one of the best tournaments that we've seen in Quake Champions, just apart from the way that the game is developed, the talent that we have here, the challengers coming in and making such a significant impact on things, that even new blood. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, we were like, oh yeah, it's really interesting. We have all this new blood, like Wenger and raisy, and they're going up again. And now we have like another set. Suddenly, Wenger, raisy, these guys are getting upgraded now. Veteran status, they've been winning, they've been performing very well. Now we have some potential, you know, some new challengers, literally.
We actually really do, right? There's just so many new names. Strong Sage, Yup, a whole bunch of those new challengers. Also recurring names, right? Huron, for example, Toxic. All of these really, really big veterans in the scene that haven't quite been with the Quake Pro League for the entirety of its duration, but are now really making a comeback.
Yeah. Been very, very impressed with every single player in challenges. Even seeing the likes of Proximo again and Buckster, these names who we haven't really been too familiar with in recent times, and seeing them coming back like Tox, like you said, been around for so many years. And it just proves with the new bloods and new players coming in that it doesn't matter how much veteran experience some of the players have. It's all about the hunger and the drive to try and either catch up and even, if not, overtake all these players, which we've seen it time and time again. Like, you know, look at raisy. He was a good example years back, coming into it now. Look at Wenger now, 19+4 at this stage, coming in and just, you know, doing a good job for himself already. So I love to see it. Love to see more of it, of course, with the new players coming into the scene. But in terms of the challenges and everyone coming for the qualifiers, every single one of them deserve to be here and causing upsets left, right, and center.
Yeah. We're just giving the players a few more moments to kind of gear up, get ready. Once we hop into it, it's probably going to be pedal to the metal. Quick, from both of you, any like games, moments that just stand out as some of your favorite of the tournament?
Rafa raisy was an incredible series. Any specific moments? I would have to give a bit of a throwback to CNC versus Dramas. There was that one moment where CNC just somehow survived for 2 minutes into overtime, came down to 1 HP not once, but twice, literally 1 HP, and somehow turned it around. Excellent defensive, masterclass on out-of-control play, and he managed to win the map. Didn't go on to win the series, but that was an extremely hype moment.
Yeah.
Probably Rafa Zeneku for me. That last flick shot with the shotgun, it just... The way Rafa said it is like, played it perfectly.
Yeah.
And he did. And that's the worst thing about it. He was, I swear, okay, it's on land, etc., and obviously damage can be a bit different, but he must have been like almost perfectly in that blast radius to get that much damage done. It was just incredible. And just so many other players in the scene, like Sirius, everyone was talking about his aim skill, and he probably had the best aim in this tournament. Everyone's going, oh, he's not going to do it on land. Well, he just clearly did, like for like the first 2 days, and he was just lights out incredible. And if that kind of player starts adapting more with that dueling experience, he's going to be another very scary player depending on that consistency.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you on the Zenaku versus Rafa matchup. Like my jaw dropped for those one rare moments. I'm like speechless for a little bit because looking through Zenaku's eyes, for me, I was wait, how this doesn't compute? It looked like the LG had him dead to rights, but it was quite amazing. Now, then we got to see, of course, the perspective coming from Rafa, and it's like, okay, it makes a lot more sense. But if I was Zeneku at that moment, I understood how he must have felt, you know. And then, you know, day one, we definitely saw, I mean, other notable stories. We obviously Maxter, but Shane kind of having his second comeback, if you will. And the big question, I think, as we, you know, continue on is, okay, like we've been here before where we've said, wow, Shane, there's something here. Look, keep an eye on him. Will he be able to keep that momentum going on there? It does seem like this was the tournament where something sort of clicked for him.
I mean, he said it himself, right? He came as close to what he considered perfection for his own playstyle as he could achieve. I just hope that he's able to, you know, allot enough time to continuing his practice regimen, going into the future for Quake Champions, right? Because, yeah, he said it himself, during much of the season, I really hadn't much of an opportunity to practice, to grind, to really get into top shape. It is only towards the end, and we could tell that paid off in dividends, right?
Yeah.
Just the shape that he came out swinging here, excellent. He ended 11th out of 13th of players in the Quake Pro League, and then he made it so far.
Yeah.
And Quron, 23rd seed, top 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't need to say anything else.
Yeah, I mean, brought definitely a unique style to things. There, I believe it was Ron and Toxic that had the 10-minute overtime, right?
Yeah,
breaking the record. Yeah, you were casting that, weren't you?
Yeah.
Actually, we were talking about it, and we felt like the longest overtime we'd seen up to that point was about 9 minutes. So broke it by about a minute and a half.
It was only 1-0. It was actually 0-0
Yeah,
for
it was
20
0-0.
minutes and 40
Yep.
seconds.
Yeah.
It's mad.
That was and was probably one of the slowest but most meticulous games that I'd seen on Blood Covenant. And I felt like after that game, every game on Blood Covenant seemed to slow down and be more of that long-range battle versus, you know, what we have seen in the past. So k1llsen versus raisy is just moments away. It looks like the match has been found, and we're going to go in. I don't know if we can generate enough applause in here for these two guys, but they both deserve it. So good luck, you guys.
Oh, I love that. The eyes from k1llsen. He's ready to take it, isn't he?
He is ready to go. We're loading into our first map, or actually, I'm going to correct. We're loading into our second map. k1llsen is up 1-0. The map is Awoken. It's going to be k1llsen's Nyx versus raisy Anarchy. I'm going to cast this first map with Lethal. Lethal, it's been great all weekend, casting with the whole crew. Shout out to 40 Lions, too. He couldn't be here, but held down the B stream the whole weekend. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate that. Solid effort on his side. And we can't wait to see you next time. And warm-up is counting down. Good luck, have fun's being exchanged. And we are officially live here for the grand finals of the Season 3 Quake World Championship.
We saw how good k1llsen's Nyx was earlier on Awoken. Let's see if it will bring that style forward. And now, still holding top mid just a tad. Just find those tri-bots to see if we can get any more information onto raisy. Doesn't get enough. but knows raisy going to be around that proximity. It's now 20 seconds in. Mega's up in the next few seconds. razy's actually going to try and attempt to go for the same item, or at least contest it enough to put k1llsen away.
Drops down, knows exactly where his opponent's at. Obviously, Ghost Walk going to come into play here. raisy with that inject, should it be needed. And I am not surprised to see a slow start here to what is going to be a long series. You know, you got to keep gas in the tank, so might as well play it as slow and as intelligently as you possibly can.
Of course, it's, again, both of them using the same defensive style or reactive style, you could say, as a user against Maxter. But now they're just using it on each other. Of course, this is the higher echelon in terms of the tier of skill we're witnessing right now. Both of them just taking every decision with a lot of caution. And I like that from k1llsen, faking that nail jump as well to pretending thinking top mid, but now still got the angle on that heavy. raisy just sitting there waiting. Got the info he needs now, backing away, got the Mega, and actually decides to lay it only a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. I mean, we've talked about throughout the tournament, like there can be some danger in delaying it too much. If you lose a battle, you can basically hand control to your opponent, but you know, working it a little bit, especially given he's on Nyx, I get why he's going to do that. And this is going to be a slow start. Now, someone's like, this doesn't look like a grand finals, it's so slow. But you have to imagine what is on the line for both of these. You know, k1llsen looking for a championship that's eluded him for quite a while. raisy does not want to be the king of second place any longer. There's so much on the line, not only the belt, but the prize money, of course, the status, and just the fact that you can call yourself Season 3 champ.
So heavy will be coming up first, and it does mean k1llsen may have a chance to contest it if he gets it just a couple of seconds after that heavy. k1llsen now just waiting for him to pop on down, but raisy just playing little mind games at the moment, as raisy does hit the first wave, hits 2 in the end, and this way k1llsen's got to be a little bit careful. He was second guessing whether he should continue to contest that Mega, decided to back away, does hit the first rail, uses the Ghost Walk on top of that, and could be chasing him down. Not going to chase him heavily, but at least get some height advantage, but that was a very important rail there, but raisy responds with one of his own, coming straight on up, 19 HP, k1llsen looking to stay alive, and raisy comes out with that shoddy.
I mean, he knew that he did a significant amount of damage to go back up that jump pad, but the amount of respect that we saw there too, that Ghost Walk popped almost immediately by k1llsen after that rail. Neither wants to be given up mistake or an inch, and oh, k1llsen actually blowing himself up as he goes in for the attack on the Mega. That means now raisy up by 2 after getting that first frag.
Yeah, raisy looking very confident, took a huge risk going up that Mega jump pad earlier on, but it seemed to pay off. It's currently up -1 to 1. raisy not going for the TP as of yet. k1llsen just holding that advantageous position as raisy almost caught him with that last rail. Still got the heavy, huge stack to work with. Of course, k1llsen does have that Ghost Walk, don't get me wrong, and it's coming up with the LG, uses the Ghost Walk straight away. And of course, raisy needs to keep an eye on the pattern to use it for the hourglasses. He caught him off straight away, back-to-back rails. He knew what route he was going to take and caught him with his trousers down.
Yeah, -1 to 2 now, as k1llsen needs to crawl his way back to at least a 0, obviously, to start climbing this mountain. 4 minutes in, and we are seeing some surgical rails come out, Lethal. Both players look to be incredibly warm right now, and, you know, I think we're already seeing a different series than what we saw earlier when they faced off.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. raisy just biding his time once again. And we're closing to the halfway stage. raisy with that free frag lead. As they both have their abilities, but raisy is going to be ready for it. But k1llsen, good rocket from him as he jumps on down. raisy used the inject straight away and was considering going for the TP, but k1llsen just dives in straight away. Beautiful rockets, beautiful read as well. And is almost going to tie things up, but even if raisy gets taken out, at least he burned the heavy away from k1llsen.
He did do some damage too, but that was the thing that is going to allow k1llsen to bring it back. So he's got to be feeling good, being above 0, and only a 1-point game, being 5 minutes in. We talked about the importance of this game and how it could set the momentum, considering that k1llsen already has a map win going into this. Now, because it's a best of 7, you need 4 maps to be the winner. That means that k1llsen basically has to win 3 in order to grab that belt and be champion. Raisy needs 4.
And you can see both players played it very slow to begin with. Now both players are trying to fight towards that aggression, trying to dictate the pace and the tempo of this matchup. Now it's k1llsen's turn for the first time in this matchup with a huge stack. Raisy just trying to see if k1llsen's still lurking around top mid, which of course did manage to find, but an aggressive Ghost Walk here could be able to catch him. And you can see Raisy preemptively used that inject just in case that happened. And that was a good return rail there from Raisy. Doesn't hit the second, but he's done enough to keep k1llsen away.
Yeah, and he knows the Ghost Walk is down. LG's going to come out, and we're going to have it answered here. Very, very close. Both players low, and it is Raisy who gets the frag with that one. Nice done. Some great decision-making coming out by both of these players. Really making sure if they are going to be aggressive or they are going to go for it, they can hopefully close it out. And that LG battle, it was Raisy who got the better of it.
Certainly did indeed. k1llsen hasn't got all the weapons in his arsenal as of yet. Still pick up LG, which he will do now. And Raisy, oh, I like that. Just back himself away. Fake it, fix out, but he's got that aggressive Ghost Walk. But in the end, Raisy does pick up that Mega. So k1llsen had a plan as he's trying to get around and still has that inject, remember. But Raisy looking for the bit of armor.
I mean, this truly is Quake chess right now, as neither player wants to give up any pieces, knowing that everyone is going to be important to get that king. 7 minutes now on the clock. 3 minutes left to go. Great rail coming out from Raisy, immediately answered by that inject. Oh my gosh, down to 1, lands the rail, but k1llsen with the LG is going to make it 2-3. And gets 1 step closer to tying this game up.
Again, he did manage to burn that heavy, so not giving k1llsen a lot of leeway after that. Wasn't the cleanest of frags, of course. And Raisy just looking to try and stay alive, but focusing on k1llsen for now, as he's gone back towards top mid to pick up that light. Now just rotating around to see where Raisy could be, but of course prioritizing that heavy will be uncontested due to the fact that Raisy definitely doesn't have to stack to contend.
Yeah, he does.
And wants him to go for any bouts at the moment.
It's where that scary moment where that rail can be the end of you. Inject coming out yet again, looking for that light in the back hallway. Been waiting for that one for a while. And both players slowing it down. Raisy knowing with this 1 frag lead, if he does not give k1llsen the opportunity, he might have a chance to take and tie this series up. But k1llsen, he knows what's on the line. He knows that he's going to have to get aggressive at some point to try to bring this one back, at least to tie, potentially for the win. Rail as he drops down. Raisy does hit it. Ghost Walk does come out. Mega's picked up. Raisy's going to go around. Great exit rail. Coming out and ejects back up.
And I love these aggressive Ghost Walks as well. Even if he doesn't get the frag, a chip damage enough to try and clean him up later on, but he can't fight this any further. He hasn't drawn down for the light because, of course, this spot is extremely risky for any player. And now he's going to go back towards that choke point onto the Mega. But looking to see if he can catch Raisy. He doesn't, but look at the stack of Raisy here. Wheat is now, still hasn't got the inject for a while. Only just used it recently. He's looking to do his best to stay alive. 1 minute left remaining. k1llsen will have another Ghost Walk in hand to use aggressively to try and catch Raisy. But it depends if Raisy will be far back enough depending on the range he's at.
Yeah, there it is. Ghost Walk coming out. Gonna go into the armor room. Does see his opponent. Drops down. Lands, or does not land the rail. Misses the second shot as well. 40 seconds left on the clock. Both players looking good. Ready for a battle. k1llsen needs to win. Try to win it clean. And then potentially try to get an additional frag. Or let it force itself to sudden death. You can see Raisy is now in a defensive mode. 20 seconds left. k1llsen needs to go on the attack. There it is. Rocket coming out. Does land the rail. Is going to go ahead and chase it down. Rail back out again. Through the teleporter. 10 seconds remaining. 1 rail is landed. Going up that jump pad. LG does come out. Ghost Walk once again. 3, 2, 1 on the end. Doesn't have the rail shot. And a 1-point game for our second match, and we are already tied 1-1.
And you saw that as well. With the timing of that Ghost Walk, he wouldn't have been able to do enough damage in any way with any weaponry to tie things. I think he had about 3 or 4 seconds left, so wouldn't have given him the opportunity, but I like that from raisy. That was a great spot. Stand on the tri-bolt area, using that LG to make sure just to keep him away and just waste as much time as possible and waste down the clock.
Yeah, just like you said, Wheat. It's been reset, right? The
been
one
reset.
map advantage that k1llsen had coming from the upper bracket has already been lost, and raisy is now on perfectly equal footing to his opponent.
Yeah. Now, I mean, from, and there's that first frag, that was pretty big. Going up that jump pad, that was raisy saying, I'm going to take a risk here to take the lead, and it paid off, but you could have seen how that could have easily gone either way. Now, I think one of the bigger things about that map win is that Nyx is off the table now, right? That was, we were even saying, like, that could be a tough one. I do think raisy chose to slow it down, try to force the game to be played on his tempo. k1llsen did try some aggressive ghost walks to change it up a little bit, but ultimately raisy takes it by just a single frag.
Yeah, it was a real struggle, wasn't it, Flea, just looking at that? Because k1llsen is very, very good on the Nyx, but the problem is raisy would preemptively sometimes use the inject if he's getting chased upon or chased behind. So these little minuscule plays here and there, which k1llsen realized that he couldn't take advantage of compared to what he did to his other opponents, was just unbelievable. But even some other small detail, like just burning the heavy on those 2 occasions so that k1llsen wouldn't have a huge stack to continue contesting the Mega straight afterwards. Little things like this is starting to add up. But you're right, though, it is one apiece, and k1llsen now will be feeling a little bit more pressure now he hasn't got that advantage anymore.
Yeah.
I think raisy's map awareness was just exquisite. Just knowing how the game was going and then using that injection, like you mentioned, to avoid those ghost walks, right? Wheat, you said it yourself. There were a handful of occasions where k1llsen used that ghost walk aggressively, but it rarely amounted to much. And that is just because raisy is so aware of that. He can almost tell that it's going to happen, and he realizes, wait, this would be the perfect opportunity for an aggressive ghost walk. I'm just going to juke him out, go down here through a teleporter, use the injection, and even if he just used it to try and catch me or cut me off, it's not going to work. And very often, he had the right idea.
Now, I think what's interesting, if you look at not just the next map, Corrupted Keep, but the next 3 maps, what you've got here is Corrupted Keep, traditionally a bit faster paced map. Things can slow down on Insomnia. That's going to be up to the players, but that could be and play out a little bit more like Awoken did. But then going back to Deep Embrace, what we're going to see is these players kind of be forced into a faster pace, maybe a little bit slower pace, faster pace, because it's harder to slow down on Corrupted Keep. It's harder to slow things down on Deep Embrace. So that will be interesting to see how the players will adjust to those particular maps and I would say the tempo in which they're normally played.
Yeah, and it's on Corrupted Keep, heavily relying on your mechanics and your fundamentals and just being able to just outplay your opponent in multiple different ways now that the rail is not involved. And with the Strog, we know how difficult it is to deal with that Pika without that rail. On so many times, people take so much damage, but at least with the Ranger, you can at least get a huge amount of damage done in one place or catch your opponent, which is probably what raisy is going to have to do due to the ability and speed of that Strog.
You also have to be extra careful using the Pika when you're up against the Ranger, right? Because we've seen it happen several times. Someone thinks they're safe, they pop the Peeker, Ranger Orb flies straight on by, rather, up in your face, and before you know it, you're done while you're sitting there in stasis. So that adds another element to this equation.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that work both ways, right?
Yeah.
So it's not always a surefire, but it absolutely is something. You've got to be pretty certain. Now, I believe it was Avik actually played Corrupted Keep Strog in one of his matchups and just had some remarkable execution when it came to the Peeker, always making sure that as he was moving, he was putting his self in positions where it was going to be next to impossible for them. They'd had to deal with the Peeker, and I think obviously k1llsen needs to do that right here. So we're now jumping into our 3rd map, tied 1 apiece. GLHFs are announced, and Flea, this is going to be an interesting one. I wonder if we might see a forced fast pace here, depending on just how this first few minutes unfold.
Expecting things to open somewhat slowly. Usually when it comes to Corrupted Keep, either you have one player just rushing off the spawn, right? They pick
Right.
up Super Shotgun, just straight up rush into the room with their orb at the ready. But if that doesn't happen, things typically tend to see a slower start, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what we're getting right now.
Yeah.
Both players looking to delay the items a fair bit. Ultimately, k1llsen is the one to pick it up the latest, so there's around 6 seconds between the Mega and the Heavy.
Yep, you kind of divide a line across the map and say, you
Yep.
stay over there, I'm gonna stay right over here, and let's do the dance. But of course, that line starts to dissolve as the game goes on. However, both players still holding onto their side. Now, k1llsen looking for an opportunity to come in, raising up top, throws out the orb, does make k1llsen at least look over there. Now, not a whole lot of damage, not much of a yield out of that, but still manages to grab that heavy.
k1llsen very quick on just sending the peeker to its doom, right? He figured that he was in a vulnerable spot. If raisy just jumps clean down, he can take that damage and get an unpredictable shot in on him. Now, raisy still lacking the lightning gun. That is the one component that he's still
Yeah.
missing, and it is so dangerous to go for it. Look, he makes a move. k1llsen is at the ready. Yep.
Yeah.
That was what k1llsen had been playing for that opening 90 seconds, Weed, hoping that raisy would have to overextend into picking up that item, or that weapon rather, which he had been denying. And ultimately, raisy gets a hold of it, but he pays the ultimate price.
Yeah, raisy also has to kind of burn the orb in order to put himself in a position to guarantee
Yeah.
that he's going to get that heavy, which, you know, some might say, why would you waste the orb like it? But I think that heavy was worth grabbing at this point. The line is drawn again across the map, but to your point, raisy still not without an LG. So I don't know if that is a strategy that you can maintain for 10 minutes, but k1llsen knows that his options are limited without that LG, that he can do a few things that raisy can't.
Now, the upside for raisy is that that frag happened at a moment where there was no opportunity really for k1llsen to chain both of the items together. So he was able to pick up Mega, but raisy had the heavy to fall back on. But, oh wait, what? Is he just sneaking on by? He just did it!
He did.
k1llsen was still, I was still on k1llsen's point of view. He was looking straight at the heavy. He had no idea that raisy was just crouch walking underneath him, stole away the Mega, and now he looped around for heavy as well.
Yeah, threw out the orb, didn't manage to take it, or just chose not to take it, but then somehow gained control here. Is going to pick up those hourglasses as well. And I would say that was definitely a pretty good bamboozle there. Did the whole Metal Gear Solid, got inside a cardboard box and managed to sneak away. Great LG coming out there, at least to do a little bit of damage, but k1llsen with the majority of that damage on his side. Orb does come in. He decides to take it to grab that heavy. Some risky moves here, but they're paying off for raisy.
I have to say, very little respect given by raisy, and that was also obvious from the start of Awoken. There were some very gutsy pushes from both of these players, and now raisy just orbing right on top of the item, even though k1llsen's holding down the angle. Oh, gets caught by surprise there, though.
Oh, if that rocket would have hit, that would have been obviously completely different, but giving k1llsen the opportunity. raisy, though, even though he's been in some situations that haven't necessarily played on his advantage, he's recovered nicely from those. k1llsen, though, still doing the damage. Now orb is up, peeker is up, 4 minutes on the clock. It's been a little bit slower version of Corrupted Keep, but what we're seeing is an incredibly strategic and intelligent way to play this map.
Still a 1 frag lead for k1llsen. He's got the setup on the heavy as well, but raisy, omnipresent, looking to apply pressure wherever possible. And now k1llsen trying to take a page out of his opponents. Oh, just look at these tiny little gaps. It's beautiful what these players have managed to uncover on these maps. No nook or cranny left unturned.
So much walking as well taking place here, but that's okay. Being stealthy, not letting their opponent know where they are. Looking for that heavy once again. Lots of damage coming up from the LG by raisy. k1llsen now gonna need some health, but k1llsen now above his opponent. raisy can only take the jump pad. What is he gonna decide to do? Comes around. Still a little bit early. Peeker does come out. Now k1llsen knows exactly where his opponent's at. He can't escape through that teleporter, but instead's just going to back up and set up for that heavy. Oh,
nice. Good play by k1llsen. baiting raisy into a false sense of security, giving him the impression that k1llsen just made a move and a play for the heavy, but no. He was just sitting pretty, waiting for raisy to go up that bounce pad. Very calculated and good read by k1llsen.
Orb is still up.
Peek or not, still 10 seconds.
He heard him right above him. He's getting a lock on him. He sees exactly where he's at. Does fire the rocket, doesn't happen, but oh, k1llsen did not get that. There's an opportunity for him. Orb does go out, but raisy not willing to risk the situation there to try to go for the frag as he took a significant amount of damage himself. Will recover though by grabbing that heavy. Now there is an opportunity here, but what? Raisy's just, he's not going to take the opportunity unless he knows for certain that it will result in the frag.
He's going to push in, LG on LG, mega spawns for k1llsen. Oh, another one. k1llsen knocked back down, Peeker comes out, but he cannot get escape. No, no way. No escape for you, says raisy. This might be the start of a consistent rotation. Weed, yeah, he took a fair bit of damage, but he's got heavy and there's plenty of health bubbles to work with. If he can avoid taking too much damage in this fight, raisy might establish full control.
And knows that Peeker's going to be down for a little bit, so options limited by k1llsen. We're tied 1-1. Orbs up, rocket on the exit. It does not manage to hit. Ooh, rocket jump, missed rocket jump. And those are not the type of things you want to do. Even though it's a little bit of damage, it still can hurt. And going down on top of that heavy, does grab it going through. I also forget Rangers, or raisy's Rangers, so it's not big of a deal.
That almost went wrong for raisy. That orb,
yeah.
perhaps a little too transparent. k1llsen got into position perhaps a second sooner than he anticipated. He ate a lot of LG damage there. I think he was lucky to escape right there, and now he's kind of paying the price. Stack significantly lower than his opponents. He needs to land these good rockets. That's one, that's two. Oh, he's dropping down.
He went for it, did manage to take it away. Has to be careful, avoid that LG, and will take that back ledge to grab the health. But stole away the heavy, didn't really walk away with much armor.
I like what k1llsen's doing. He's been doing an excellent job at denying those small armors, making it so that raisy only has the heavy to rely on. But every time that raisy takes away the heavy, k1llsen's there to punish him for it. Big peeker as well. Oh, but that relentation rocket. k1llsen had an opportunity if it wasn't for that rocket.
Orb is up. There is the light steal. And less than 2 minutes left to go. And neither player wants to give an inch flea.
Absolutely not. Let's take a look at the statistics. Item pickups heavily favoring raisy right now, but the damage is going in the direction of k1llsen.
A lot of mind games here, just in terms of making noise one way, switching directions, going back, trying to fake out his opponent. Raisy now, middle doors on the top. Is he going to rotate around right behind his opponent? k1llsen most certainly heard that rocket's going to drop on top of that. Meg is in a good spot right now with his stack. Does have orb up. Is going to head over to the heavy. Wow. 1 minute left to go, and we may be going into overtime here.
Sure is looking likely, based on how these two champions have been playing. See what raisy can do. They're slow playing it. k1llsen knows that if he goes up the bounce pad, he's in such a vulnerable position. raisy spots that rocket, knows exactly where his opponent is at. I like what k1llsen's doing, trying to position himself between raisy and the next item, trying to catch him up maybe with a good burst of LG or heavy machine gun. Ooh. These orbs are risky though, Weed. If that lands in just the wrong spot, k1llsen gets a nice burst of LG, one solid rocket. LG LNG.
Yeah,
this could settle it.
Oh, wow. And it was a risky orb, but it allowed him to grab that heavy, have the stack to go in and even force a battle like that. And raisy is going to pull it out, suddenly taking the lead 2-1 after that very, very low scoring game. Dan now joining us on, yeah, right?
Just in time.
Even though very, very slow, any tiny mistake, especially at that speed, can also be a disaster.
Yeah, you can see both players completely unwilling to commit to any fight that might cause any sort of chaos just in case that situation happens. But at any one point in time, if you push the initiative, the chaos happens, and raisy came out on top this time. We've seen 2 maps now separated by 1 score frag. We've seen, what, 5 frags from raisy across 2 maps? That's pretty much unheard of, but it's just the level they're playing at, that they're unwilling to take a bigger risk unless they have absolute certainty in what they're playing on.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a very slow, calculated game of chess within the realm of Quake, as you put it earlier, Reed. 51% LG by k1llsen versus 33 by raisy. And if you just look at the damage, right? k1llsen significantly outdamaging his opponent, but raisy had such good control of the items. Latched onto a rotation around halfway through the map. Didn't fully run it through till the end, of course, but had still control for most of that period.
Yeah, we're going to be moving on now to Insomnia, where k1llsen's going to be on the DK and raisy on the slash. If you recall the earlier interview that we did before the tournament, and raisy said, yeah, man, slash is pretty sweet. I like this champion. Now, Insomnia, that's the big question mark here. We've seen DK on Insomnia,
Yeah.
but also this is a map that had been taken, the back seat for a lot of this season. It's certainly a map that these two have practiced and played. It's not like they're going to get lost on it, but certainly not the most comfortable of what we've got in the pool.
No, and what we saw from the seasonal stage in anyhow was that k1llsen was a little bit more comfortable. He was generally the one playing it, and in my opinion, it suits his style very nicely. You have that clear ledge, that clear area around the upper heavy, just to play slow, play with the rail. We've seen it earlier. Max are doing it to perfection up against Wenger, I believe. That's a play style
Right.
k1llsen likes, and to force him out of there as a slash without the stack, that's hard. And then you're getting bumped all over the place with a really rocky map that you can't even get the speed up anyway. I'm going to be really interested to see how raisy plays this one out, because if he runs in with no stack, gets blown up by a fire strike, it might be over at 1-0. We've seen in low-score games.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, if raisy can get the lead and hang on to it, he's going to be so difficult to catch. Dan and I, we were just talking about it off stream. No player can just stop moving the way raisy can. He can absolutely just position himself somewhere. His enemy will know where he is, and he will just stop. And he'll just stand still. He says, if you're going to come from left, I'm going to run right, and vice versa. And he will just hold on to that without budging an inch. So if that happens, Insomnia is a map that allows for that.
What I will say is that this map, I haven't seen a slash on it. It seems really difficult to actually play the items with a slash, right? Like, you can't speed in, steal away the heavy.
Right.
You can't speed in, steal away the mega. You actually have to fight. So this is tricky.
I would agree. It's a tough one to visualize how this might play out. I mean, certainly, I think it's pretty easy with the DK to go, yeah, I could see how this will play.
Yeah.
I mean, Flame Strike seems quite good here in this situation. So it also should be said that, k1llsen needs to bring this back again, right? He doesn't want to leave raisy with a potential game point if he were to win this one. So
No, absolutely not. And these two have a history, So
right.
there is a world where raisy's starting to get into k1llsen's head a bit. And so keeping rational, keeping calm is also part of the equation. This is a one-on-one game after all, where the mental game is probably just important, if not more important than skill level. So
yeah, it's kind of fascinating because, k1llsen slowed it down a little bit for Maxter, slowed it down a little bit for raisy, and now raisy kind of answering that call, and k1llsen might need to be the one who goes a little aggressive to try to mix things up a bit.
I would agree, and so far we've seen that. He's stolen away the heavy, did a lot of damage for that, but now he's in position for the mega. He's limiting the resources for raisy, and I definitely agree. I think we've seen a bit of a stalemate at the moment in the first 2 maps. I want to see more aggression from k1llsen. Really take the game to this slash. You're not going to catch him, no, but you can bully her off the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be those opening rails that will be really big, especially for k1llsen, right? I mean, just look at raisy's stack by comparison.
Yeah.
One rail, It's like, I don't care how fast you go, eventually you're going to get choked out of potential health and armor resources, and it's going to just be a battle of attrition to the point where k1llsen will ultimately win that one. So I tend to favor him and this champion pick a little bit more than what we see out of raisy, but that hasn't stopped players in the past.
No, we can always see the trepidatious nature of raisy, evacuating the area whenever his opponent shows face. He's built the starting stack, so that's okay, but as you've pointed out, the stack difference otherwise is huge. Raisy's setting up a trap here. k1llsen actually jumps into it. The Flame Strike comes out, doesn't do anything. Coming up a second time with the rocket jump. He knows how important these items are. He does take it away, but as you can see, priority for k1llsen, keep control of those items. A, B, C. raisy doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Now he doesn't even have that starting stack either, so he's definitely not going to show an inch to k1llsen.
The walk key has never been used more.
No, it's going to be broken soon.
In this matchup, 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock. And, you know, you might have someone tune in and say, what is going on? I saw the most just brutal, aggressive matches today. And honestly, there's a lot of things you can break down from this. First off, respect from both of these players, knowing how deadly their opponent is. Hold on, we got a surprise.
Wow.
And that was huge by k1llsen. The game, the set, the trap, it was big. raisy now going to pick up that aggression a little bit. Lands 2 nice rockets as k1llsen's trying to convert off this one and give himself a potential lead in the game. And that's how it can explode right there, Dan. All it takes is that moment. And this time it was k1llsen who stopped and slowed it down, saw an opportunity for that burst damage, and was able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, absolutely right. raisy like a book. And the problem for me as he walks in again is the fact that raisy's strategy so far has been avoid conflict. He's taken 1 major item in the game. How does he get into this one unless he tries to bait k1llsen into overextending, which is a hard task at the best of times. And k1llsen continues to rotate the items and doesn't let raisy even have a sniff of them. So it's difficult to see what the game plan is for raisy as he's been struggling with stacks, struggling to find damage. But he's going to have to before this game is over.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like k1llsen now, 3 minutes in this, he's figured out, like, okay, I've kind of got a game plan here, right? Like, I've got a significant stack advantage. I've got control. If I land a single rail or catch my opponent while I've got this flame strike, then I'm going to be in a real good spot. He keeps that up. Even if you were to get a 1-2 frag lead, you know, I think it was you mentioned, like, Slash is, you know, able to get some speed on this one. There's the rail. Is it going to open up an opportunity? Well, that caused raisy almost to go into panic mode to slow down behind that column, and it works out perfectly. LG by k1llsen, 4 minutes, 20 seconds in. He's up by 2.
Yeah, and it's really rough for raisy, if I'm completely honest. That's the first item he's trying to take since the first time into the game, and he got punished for it.
Punished, yeah.
Like, he's feeling kind of worthless. You can see him looking at the angles, trying to work it out, but anytime k1llsen makes a move, it's more about raisy retreating than really trying to punish that. Doesn't see him drop down, but he'll know where he's coming from now. He's going to peek over. He needs to contest, and I think this is what he has to do. He doesn't have anything to work with, but you need to take that risk. The fire strike comes out from k1llsen, and that is the sign for raisy to leave. He goes up, but what a rocket to rail combo that was.
Excellently done. 3-0 now, and, you know, to your point, you know, halfway in, but I think with that slow start, raisy's kind of like, there might not be a clear way to win this one. Like, he would just, I don't even know, Dan. I mean, speculating, it could be like, yeah, he needs to play a longer distance game, but like k1llsen's rails looking on point. He hits that one, and then, you know, what can he do? There he does land one. There's a second one. So maybe raisy, I'll show you how you can win this one. In fact, the third rail and then the machine gun. All right, patience, landing those shots. There is a way, but heck, can you convert with Slash? Flame strikes out again. You have to be careful because if that's up, you can't necessarily do what we just saw right there.
Yeah, and the thing is, to your point, as he goes in aggressively, actually, he tried to take the fight to k1llsen, surprises him, and in fact, he does. There you go. There's a great use of the Slash, and it's like, well, you've been not running at me for 5 minutes. He didn't expect it, but to your point, this map isn't necessarily about using that speed, because the Slash is really difficult to use that speed. It's more about the angle play, and raisy's not been playing the angles particularly well until now. And now the comeback is on. He just can't find the edge of k1llsen there as he gets away, but with what? 8 seconds towards the heavy, and raisy's got a bit of momentum behind him. He's felt some confidence.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was literally some kind of five-head mood, giving k1llsen a little bit of a lead and some confidence, because I think now k1llsen's kind of asking himself, wait a second, what was working so well does not seem to be as effective. He was using the rail, definitely LG, and of course the flame strike in several different spots. Just needs to keep at that, still up by 1, about 3.5 minutes remaining. Big rocket, a second follow-up, a little bit of damage coming up by raisy too. No opportunity to capitalize on that one.
No, but that amazing split that k1llsen built into these 2 items is now being used by raisy. The one item he started with is now been converted into an absolute multitude, and this overbearing stack of raisy is being built into this game, but k1llsen's coming back into it. A good rail has equalized that stack. He's being forced away from this mega, though. He wants to contest it so damn badly. He's got in for the, he's got the flame strike, and it comes out, and that'll be a certain death.
Yikes, yeah, I mean, right in the face, eat it up. It burns the mouth.
I understand the move by raisy, but it felt, watching it from afar, so obvious as to what was happened once k1llsen started moving back in. He was waiting and hoping the Slash was going to commit, and raisy took that bait.
Yeah, and it's a mistake you've got to learn from. Unfortunately, did you learn it too late in the game? Because up by 2, still going to be pretty tough. You know, k1llsen's going to be able to use that flame defensively if need be. Well, opening up with a rail. Some Tri-Bolt comes out. Can't find a second one. Flames are back up here for k1llsen.
raisy's beginning to find a good rotation, a good pathing that he's enjoying and finding success with. k1llsen, as you rightly put it now, is in a position where he's like, maybe I just play the corner game.
Yeah.
Hope the Slash comes at me and I can use my flame shot, because I don't need to engage her. I don't need to give her free angles just like this. Luckily, k1llsen does make that a trade, but it is damage that he can't really afford to take, because he's not being able to get these major items, and that pressure will continue to build. He has got a 2-frag buffer. Here comes raisy. He's taking a lot of damage with the flame strike, and he's actually going to go down himself. That probably wins k1llsen the game, but raisy has a little bit more time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, k1llsen being a little bit more patient on that point. What was working out so well for him early on kind of stopped by raisy, which is a good indication that raisy was kind of adapting, but k1llsen firing right back.
There we go.
Another big frag, 2 rockets, 1 minute left. That's probably going to result in a GG.
Absolutely, and he did exactly what we were talking about, Weed. It was like, well, yeah, I can't get control, but what I can do is wait around this corner until you fly into my rockets, and I have an amazing ability that will just eliminate you.
Yeah, I mean, the big takeaways from that is great job by raisy, kind of figuring out a way to get through that stack wall that k1llsen had built up, but then a shout out to k1llsen for kind of realizing what raisy was doing, adjusting his game accordingly. 30 seconds remaining. Might be able to get another frag here, but then what happens after that? raisy does get it, but actually it's a trade, so it won't matter anyway, as 20 seconds left. raisy calls the GG, and we are tied up yet again, 2-2, moving on to Deep Embrace.
The big thing for me is the what-ifs in that matchup, right? Because it felt that raisy was walking around like little lost lamb for the first 5 minutes of the game. No items to his name. Didn't even try to pressure k1llsen for a lot of it, in part because of the way in which k1llsen was cutting off the angles before he could, but I definitely felt that raisy could have been more creative on the defense. It just felt that he was playing a game of staying alive rather than how do I actually take control and take the lead. So bit of self-reflection from raisy, but it's only a 2-2 game in terms of map score. We've got a long way to go.
Yeah. When we started this best of 7, it became a best of 5.
Yeah.
Now we're back to a best of 3 all over again. Deep Embrace, Blood Covenant, Ruins, our last 3 maps. Both players definitely playing well. Welcome to the desk, Ketchup.
Hello, hello, hello. But a key moment in this series, a chance for k1llsen to come back online after a rough couple. And, well, importantly, that we're back to an even scenario. So as you quite rightly said, you know, having a bit of a rough start there, k1llsen kind of just keeping that momentum as we go. Nice to know there's still life in him, you know, and that's an important element to have.
Yeah, it's 2-2, but he's only won one map, so he won't feel as good as being a 2-2 mentally.
I don't know. 2-2 is 2-2. I mean, like you get that map for a reason, but certainly, I don't know. Maybe it comes into mind. But now we're going to shift over to Deep Embrace. So we got k1llsen on the Doom and raisy on the Galena. Definitely a little bit different than what normally we might see on Deep Embrace, but will this be another map where, you know, Doom, some mobility, might be able to have a bit more utility that's beneficial? Galena is kind of good utility as well. So how do you measure this one, Dan?
Like, raisy would definitely rather have played the Doom. I think this is the exact pairing we saw, raisy versus Wenger, Doom versus Galena, if I remember rightly. raisy definitely prefers the Doom, but the reason you pick a Galena is, well, one, there's not a lot of champions left, to put it bluntly, so you have to have one of them. But the reason you pick a Galena over what's left on that board there is the totems in fight. You want to keep your stack high. You want to use them strategically just to make sure you can dodge back into them, retop yourself off, because this is a high combat map. I don't expect raisy to really go out of his way to search for that overstack. If you get it, great, it's a bonus, but it's about being efficient with the usage and a little bit of information. But from a Doom perspective, like, we know what we get with that particular champion. Good mobility, causes a little bit of chaos in fights, and got the Berserk if you need it as a get out of free jail card.
But I think at the same time, too, we kind of look at the champions that are there, and with the totems, should be quite good for raisy, who's likely going to be maybe a little bit out-positioned. I think I'm kind of looking at Deep Embrace on paper, and I'm thinking Doom's going to have that double jump to kind of just go from point A to point B miles faster than Galena can possibly do it outside of a rocket jump. So having that little bit of extra padding, if you will, to kind of cover his back when k1llsen's more than likely going to be the one to initiate a lot of these fights, least of all with those kind of ranged rail shots that he's going to be in position for first. I think this is a good situation for k1llsen. The important thing, though, is going to be to just lay that pressure on thick when the opportunity arises. Any amount of time to disengage in between those items, raisy's just going to bring himself back up to healthy, and it's just another thing that k1llsen doesn't want to have to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, after this map, one of these players will most certainly be on game point, right? raisy had the opportunity to be there on a map win on Insomnia. Didn't happen. We're tied back up. Whoever wins this map has a potential game point possibility and could become the Quake World Champion for Season 3.
Well, it looks like we're jumping into Deep Embrace,
Yes,
a often favorite map at this point. Thank you very much, ZSX. We might be seeing you later, who knows, as we now jump into where things begin. An early fight is going to break out now with k1llsen back in the heavy position. Such a common thing now where players will push forward early because, I mean, you're going to spawn on one side of the map each.
Yep.
There's no immediate rush to pick the item up. You may as well get the damage first and then pick it up later. k1llsen still delaying the heavy. We can see the degree of setup right now.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, a little bit similar to what we saw in that start with Corrupted Keep. First totems do happen to be down. Big rocket from k1llsen to open things up, following up with a rail and a second rail, and an explosive start to Deep Embrace here by k1llsen, already up by 1.
It's a fantastic start if you're in k1llsen's position, and he's already kind of on the hunt as we have this next cycle of items. Now, raisy is going to try and somewhat play it safe by sitting near heavy side, but really nothing to be had. A heavy pickup, raisy picking up that mega because, truthfully, you have to. You can't sit around and wait at this point because k1llsen has all the weapons and all the momentum. He's going to drop down, look for an opening rail. Lovely positioning for k1llsen just to make sure the teleporter was there to retreat to. And I love that little maneuver. Keep yourself covered. But where are we going to go from this point on? You can see k1llsen doing k1llsen things, sitting in the center point of the map, listening out for raisy. But raisy will know that and trying very hard not to make some noise in return.
And k1llsen did get that first frag, but what raisy's looking for is to not allow a snowball to take place. Nice double rail coming out by k1llsen. Not going to be able to land a third as that mega is picked up by raisy. He's very happy that it was there. These rails coming up by k1llsen, super patient, definitely accurate and on point. And that's how he is going to try to control this top area here. As another rail comes out, and he's sporting a 77% with 9 shots. raisy in the danger zone. Misses that rail, but recovered. The
Oh my
LG
God.
as he hops down. I'm not sure if he missed that or what, but... Oh, and another rail off the spawn. k1llsen is no longer here. It's railsen.
Wheat, there is nowhere raisy can go that k1llsen isn't making the perfect read on. We saw it on the frag previously where k1llsen fakes out the double jump, drops round on the bottom location, knows where raisy's going to retreat, catches the perfect chase down near heavy. I mean, everything raisy's trying to do to survive, k1llsen just seems to be one or maybe even two steps ahead. And we said that k1llsen is going to have to stick to raisy like glue. What opportunities has raisy had to actually set up anything? The rocket, knowing that the totem's going to get dropped 4-0. We're not even 3 minutes in. k1llsen's back in this series and then some. And that's what you need for grand finals, mate.
Absolutely, 4-0. And I think the big problem is that raisy isn't even being given room to set anything up, where k1llsen, again, we mentioned the double jump, but it's not just the double jump, it's that rail too. 69% as he's hitting
nice.
a huge amount of those shots, and the ones that really count. Up by 4. Is there snowball potential? Yes, but k1llsen in the first 3 minutes and 20 seconds already setting himself up nicely here on Deep Embrace.
They're the frightening kind of rails, the most fearsome, the ones where k1llsen, there is a split second where raisy is visible, and somehow k1llsen just has the angle lined up. That's the most impressive thing. I mean, he's not kind of reacting to it. There's this element of going around a corner and knowing that if he's there, I'll catch him. So I've already got my crosshair laid out, and it's just that degree of minute knowledge at this point. I mean, that's what world-class Quake is all about. And there's the defensive rail. Does not hit its mark there, raisy. Forced to second guess. What am I going to do here? Actually chooses to run all the way round for heavy, but it hasn't really done anything. k1llsen is on the hunt regardless. You've got to go all the way around. Mate, I've got a double jump.
Yeah, and then what is there for him? The mega opportunity to rocket jump up is exactly what he does. And every single time, k1llsen always has a place to go to if he frags raisy, right? Like, first he's going to look for that spawn, but second of all, he knows that raisy's going to want that rail because that's going to be a key item to trying to open things up here in this matchup. Another direct rocket, a second time too, but raisy gets the frag down just a little bit. Even k1llsen surprised by that one. I'm kind of shocked.
Just shy of 1 HP, but that's going to be swiftly healed up thanks to the totem. But gotta be honest, that fight did feel a little bit fortunate for raisy. You know, that last-minute teleport, kind of mixing him up a little bit, if you will, and catching k1llsen off guard. You're going to need more than that to bring this thing back, because it's still 5-1. We've just hit the 5-minute warning, and the pace of k1llsen continues. Now, there's going to be one major factor, and I'm kind of not surprised that raisy's still sitting around, not just for the heavy, the rail. k1llsen hasn't been able to pick up a rail yet, and that has been the nightmare tool that has kept raisy behind.
He sees his opponent behind him. He quickly gets out of there. More totems going down. One away from an overstack here. And now he's got to slow this down, try to open it up in a way that's going to be beneficial to him. Heavy is almost up. Mega's sitting over there just waiting to be picked up. And raisy's going to now, for the first time, be in some sort of control here of the major items.
k1llsen had to play it safe there. He's only got an LG and a tri-bolt, so knowing he didn't have the rail, knowing he didn't have the rocket launcher, sitting around on heavy, all it took was one brave push from raisy, and there was just a chance k1llsen was going to get out-fragged. And with this much of a lead, it's kind of not worth taking that risk. You still have 4 frags to work with, and it took a minute to build this whole series up, so if k1llsen is able to keep this strong, cautious game plan in check, then by all means, he can take this map all the way. Another rotation of the items for another time. raisy being nice and careful, but there is going to come a point where he's going to have to pounce. Now, there's a little bit of damage here, but this isn't going to be the moment. Jump pad! No! Totem for you! k1llsen gets another one!
Now, is he going to try to rush this one down? He does see his opponent, does not decide to go after him. All he had was a rocket and a LG. Nice rail coming out. That heavy almost up. k1llsen still up by 5. Big LG damage. Rail does hit. Oh, big rocket too through that murder hole as well. No armor now on raisy's side. But k1llsen takes a lot of damage there in the danger zone now.
Hitting that rail sometimes felt a little bit like a needle in a haystack.
Yep.
The fact that k1llsen's been able to find so many of these is ridiculous in its own right, but it has been the rail that's consistently kept raisy in this not so fortunate position. k1llsen, ooh, lovely rocket placement straight through the wooden holes. And now the pressure could be on. The jump pad there, raisy second-guessed it. Okay, never mind. Maybe I shouldn't go up here. Get some bonus spam maybe, but that's as good as we're going to get. Another rail to hit its mark. Thankfully now for raisy, able to get the Mega afterwards, so it's not going to be as disastrous, but now we're going to have to focus on some armor. Without armor, the rails, the rockets, the LG, everything is going to punish raisy so much heavier, and there's not much of this map left to go, Wheat.
Ooh, nice tribal as he makes the rocket jump up. That heavy is going to be there. LG on top of the tower. Oh, and exchanging a rail right there, too. Can't follow up with the second one. raisy, flashing, hurt. Light is picked up by k1llsen. 2 minutes left to go. 5 frags, that's a lot. Yes, there's snowball potential here on Deep Embrace, but not the way that k1llsen's playing.
It doesn't matter at all that k1llsen took a bunch of damage right there near heavy because he got the better win. He had more options to recover. He had more options to even pick up some armor. And then there was a Mega lying in wait. That's just k1llsen's plan B coming into effect. You've always got to have a backup plan for these situations. And he knew, I'll get some damage, and if I take too much damage, that's totally fine. I've got plenty of the map to fall back on. And right now, 1 rocket to begin, and there's the rail out of nowhere. A minute and a half. 4 frags needed, technically possible, but it's going to be one hell of a comeback if raisy can get this.
It would be one hell of a comeback, but he's going to try to go for it. Rail through the back, a second rail up the jump pad, 6-3, minute 15 in order to make something happen. Knows his opponent doesn't have a rail, but spawned over by that LG. Then we're going to have the heavy picked up on the top, LG versus LG.
Oh no!
k1llsen does go down. Very, very low though. Raisy's got to be careful here. He's hanging out in the back hallway. 2 frags and 1 minute in order to make those up.
50 seconds right as raisy picks up a fresh Mega health. And with that light armor, these rails make me very nervous with what's on the line here. This is the opportunity to break away, to put yourself onto championship point. And only 2 frags for raisy lies in the balance. k1llsen has to play this so carefully. A berserk is ready. Might be used for an emergency escape, but it won't be until the last closing minutes. You're going to be stuck in melee for a set time. That's not what you want right now. The Mega is about to spawn, but I don't think raisy even has time to go for it.
No, he did finally catch a glimpse of where his opponent was. Nice rail. He's going to make the rocket jump up. He does, but the LG's there. It was a big risk. He had to take it. The rail from k1llsen. That will seal the deal on the game. You know, why did raisy rocket jump? He had to. There had to be an opportunity to try to get that frag back. k1llsen so elegantly avoiding the situation. Yeah.
And the fact that he gets that win with a Doomslayer that's currently wearing the belt in-game. That's a message to send. You see that? That's going to be mine soon. Or maybe not. But I got to say, yeah, that play near the end, you're right. If raisy didn't rocket jump there, it was over. Can't chase him. Can't get it in time. You can't even get up that jump pad. Would have been a bigger risk than a surprise rocket jump. So sometimes you just have to go for it. But k1llsen had just done such an amazing job early, and we have got to give a shout out to those world-famous rail shots. There's a reason people call k1llsen Railson. You saw a perfect example for that right now. And just look at these replays, right? 5-0 when we were about halfway through. The amount raisy had to do to come back, I mean, it's a miracle he got so close.
Agreed.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. And raisy, that could have been much worse. That could have been 10-0 at one stage, considering how bad of a spot he had to be put himself in under defensive stance to try and recover. It was so difficult. And k1llsen, I kind of feel like all of a sudden he's come to life, and this is going to be dangerous territory here for raisy. But now we're coming to the map cycle where raisy has a lot more space, but of course a lot more rail action from k1llsen's end. So it may be pros and cons from both sides, but yeah, it'll be interesting if we do get to these both maps, not just one.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, folks. I'm looking at that map that we're coming up to next, Blood Covenant. We are obviously entering a dimension where there's only a little bit left. You don't have a lot of champions to choose from, and I think k1llsen might be on the slightly negative side of that, because raisy gets to go in with a conventional champion in Visor. Ison on Blood Covenant, I mean, it wouldn't be a first pick, would it? It really wouldn't.
No.
So you're going up against someone who has the same stack as you, slightly better movement, and at the same time, I mean, The piercing sight, man. I mean, that just has such a huge benefit for players on Blood Covenant because it's super rail heavy. It can be super ambush heavy. You know, you can see where people spawn. It does everything. And you've just got a little turret that might not do much. I'm a bit worried.
You know, k1llsen now being on game point. He wins this next match. He is the Season 3 champion. I don't think either of these players, I mean, raisy has no choice. He's got to win this game, force it to a final game. If that happens, the interesting thing is, of Sorlag and Keel, which of these players has played that champion on that map this weekend, right? Like maybe in the past, but suddenly there's this sort of unpracticed thing this weekend.
And there's also the talking point of Keel was not picked. Keel was the last one left. So
true.
By purest definition, the last choice.
But the thing is, though, the kill pick on Ruins isn't that bad. It used to be quite good. The fact you can use those pineapples around the T-junction on Mega, for Heavy especially,
right.
So easy for them to try and bag that, just find a couple just to be on the safety side, you know. Even on Courtyard, if they're trapped, find some of those pineapples to kind of move them a bit into your advantageous position. There's a lot of things you can do with it, but obviously we need to get to that point. Of course, we have to focus on Blood Covenant and the Visor, you know, definitely more of a viable option here.
Absolutely. Well, we're moving on to the 6th map, and that means k1llsen is on game point. It is currently 3-2 in our grand final of k1llsen versus raisy. Map 7, should we go to it, will be on Ruins, but Blood Covenant is first. raisy's tournament life is on the line. He has already made 2nd place, but he said, Lethal, I don't want 2nd place. If he wants to crawl past this, he has got to defeat k1llsen here on Blood Covenant.
He certainly does, but Visor is still a decent pick considering the champion pool he had left remaining. So this could be raisy's time to get these 2 maps back-to-back and claim the title for himself. As now currently Mega's up in the next couple of seconds, and look at this here. raisy's in a better spot for this Mega, and if he grabs this and then instantly goes for the Heavy, he can try and contest that at the exact same time. But at the same time as well, raisy just been a little bit cautious with that decision to either just go for the Mega or just try and fool k1llsen in some way.
Coming around the corner. That turret waiting for him right there. k1llsen did grab that Heavy. And, you know, k1llsen had a pretty mighty rail on that last map. Let's hope he packed it in a suitcase and brought it over here to Blood Covenant, because I do think that rails are going to help decide the winner of this one. k1llsen can close it out right here. He's been wanting that championship for a while. raisy's no different. And everything's on the line here with k1llsen in game point.
Good rails from both players, but raisy's going to take the risk here, but will he be able to survive and get the Heavy? Yes, he does. And now does a little bit of heavy machine gun damage and the rail as well. k1llsen is on the back foot. raisy's on the hunt looking to try and track him down, but of course he's just directly above. And I love that as well, just eating the lights away. Going to go through, and now he has the chance to get the Mega, and k1llsen knows this.
Yeah, absolutely. k1llsen's still fairly low. And although raisy doesn't have the most respectable stack in the world, he will grab that Mega. Piercing sight comes out, knows exactly where his opponent is at, but it doesn't matter. He uses it to push away and zone his opponent so he can grab that Heavy. He's focusing on that item control to see if he can't help him net that first frag. Nice rail from k1llsen as we're 2 minutes in, 0-0.
You saw that as well. The turret gave a little bit of info on where raisy could be lurking, and k1llsen got a clear eye view around that hourglass area. And raisy now just holding the angles once again. Knows that he can't go for the Mega and doesn't want to risk taking too much damage, as if he does drop for the Heavy and he's already consumed 1 rail, then it could be curtains for him and giving k1llsen that first frag, as both players now just playing it a lot slow as he's just directly underneath.
Yep. And I thought he might just rocket jump up there, but no. There's likely, I don't know if he dropped his turret up there, but he's waiting for him around the corner. Oh, catch him with the LG, 100 damage right off the bat. Doesn't decide to go in for the kill. That just doing that damage is enough.
And that's going to make k1llsen make a split decision on where he wants to go. Oh, what a great rail there from k1llsen, just to try and knuckle down on the stack. And Oh, you saw that. It got a little bit dicey, but just throwing those audio cues about here and there, basically saying to raisy, I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared to just push on up by any means. Just firing that time it back down, and Mega's up in the next couple of seconds. But I love the prioritization of these hourglasses as well to make sure to have consistent reads every single time. And Mega and Heavy, Mega's been up for at least 5 to 7 seconds now. Heavy's only just come up, but it looks like there is going to be a GA in terms of going for each other's items. So almost in sync again, so we won't see full map control for a while.
Another incredibly intense game where the mind games are present. Neither player really wanting to commit, using the full utility that their champs have. Oh, narrowly missing that rocket as Mega is about up, but these items are so close to one another, separated by 3 seconds.
And now Raisy's still just directly underneath. We're already approaching the halfway stage. I'm getting the Huron Tox flashbacks at the moment as he is trapped, but Raisy should be okay if he can at least get that first rail in. And k1llsen knows that he's still there. Look at that. Good read from k1llsen, just getting ready to try and Ferrari pick away from the Rockets to try and catch at least one rail onto Raisy. But k1llsen just biding his time, listening for his audio cues, using the tri-bulk to see if he can get a little bit of damage in both items. Again, being up for a while.
Yeah, immediately goes down, and he didn't immediately go for that heavy. Sees him on top. k1llsen's immediately just gonna turn around and say, cool, I'm gonna go grab the Mega. And again, the respect lethal of these two. We're halfway through, 0-0. Not an uncommon score that we have seen here on Blood Covenant, and even more so considering what is at risk and what is on the line. Potentially a championship win for k1llsen, Raisy's tournament life for him.
I love that from k1llsen, trying to potentially dive on in with the turret to consume some of that damage. Good first rail there from k1llsen. Raisy's just straight up out of there. And Mega is up. He's got to be careful here, just trying to abuse the map geometry of these pillars. Does get the Mega. k1llsen looking to try and go for another one. As look how patient Raisy is with that rail, just to try and hit one of his shots. And k1llsen preemptively rocketing around that light, but Raisy knows better than that and goes for the other one instead.
Oh, I like that though. Turning back around, we'll be able to pick up those files. Let's see what k1llsen is up to here. As I think he thought his opponent might have gone underneath to head over that heavy. He realized that's not the case, so he's going to grab that. While Raisy is likely to grab that Mega, which he does. And, you know, rail's been very key here, but neither players really wanted to show themselves to even let their opponent hit rails.
And Raisy now just continuing to be very patient. k1llsen's just walking around bottom Mega to see what he can find. Both of them have no info on each other, but you know what? That piercing sight could come in handy, but instead comes through the TP, and Raisy was more than ready for that approach. As Raisy right now still got a slightly bigger stack, as piercing sight is coming up in the next 15 seconds, and the Mega has been delayed again by k1llsen.
Right, but I think that was smart too, knowing like, hey, I can put myself out here, might land a rail, could get hit by one, it's okay, I can go back and grab that Mega. It's exactly what he does, but gets tagged with another one. Does Raisy sense an opening? Turret is up, turret is down now, another rail coming out. The tri-bolt, Raisy definitely looking for an opportunity here. He's got the armor stack, k1llsen's hurting. Rocket jumps up, then the jump pad, trying to fake out k1llsen, and k1llsen's just gonna head on over and grab that Mega.
Raisy's creating some good flanks, but instead, k1llsen's got plenty of time to kind of rotate round or get away. This is gonna be the issue, but Raisy does take that last rail. He's not going to be up for a little bit of time, but neither is the Mega either. Does have the piercing sight once again. 2 minutes and 15 left. Knows he's at the rail now from that try button, of course, with the piercing sight. Looking to see what the best situation could be for himself in order to approach that heavy and also get some damage done. But as he's trying to take out that turret, k1llsen had eyes on him. Couple of missed rockets, k1llsen directly underneath him, but the turret's been a little bit of a pain. That does mean that k1llsen will get that heavy. Nice little strategy there from k1llsen. Nova is on limited time. He's trying to go for the Mega at the same time. raisy heard that straight away. Just tank that last rail. Does pick up the Mega, but this is k1llsen's opportunity. It's just going back-to-back rails. Still somehow alive, just barely, but the light will stop him from being railable, and raisy just needs to get out of there.
Yeah, fix the rocket. Trying to provide raisy with some wrong information here. A rail would be huge, potentially set up a potential here for that first frag. We also could go right into sudden death here. I don't think either player necessarily wants that added pressure to things, but it might be the only choice. They both have 1 minute, 10 seconds left on the clock. k1llsen with the better stack. Grabs another rail. He hit 3 phenomenal rails lethal earlier on. raisy still kind of recovering from that. Very, very close one on that one. Heavy's about up.
k1llsen's still got full map control. raisy needs to try and get some chip damage, but it's k1llsen still continuing with these rails, and k1llsen still has the angle there. raisy is actually playing this quite risky and wants to try and attempt to go for this rail, but I love this as well. Putting on a bit more pressure. Has picked up the Mega, but k1llsen is still at the bottom, knows not to go up that jump pad. It's basically dangerous territory for him, but that was a decent rocket there as raisy having to try and get away, as k1llsen still trying to find out more info with that tripod. Goes in, so almost gets it with the rail, goes through the TP, back and forth. I don't know what's going to happen here. 7 HP, still staying alive. Both of them are so weak. Trying to finish it with the shoddy, but neither player wants to go for it. So tempting. How on earth was there no kill from either side?
Unbelievable little dance there through the teleporter. I definitely clenched a little bit. raisy still trying to recover from that one, and there's the time. Sudden death. The next map will either determine whether we go to a final map or if we have a new champion here in Season 3. k1llsen tagged with that rail.
And k1llsen now will he be able to stay alive at this point? Still into sudden death, and if he just makes the wrong peak or pushes out too far, then that's him done. If heavy is up, raisy of course going to go for it uncontested, as k1llsen's still looking for some lights, but he's got the piercing sight. He hits the first shot. He's going to push straight on forward, but the problem is he's already picked up the Mega here. Still hasn't found any armor to his name. raisy desperately trying to get this first and of course last frag, but the light has already been picked up and k1llsen's slowly being able to recover.
I mean, we could see another 10 minutes the way that they are playing right now.
I'm fine with
super intense. I mean, to think about how close both of them came to death through that teleporter dance is just unbelievable. Love to see that one in slow-mo again. 1 minute in now. Both players looking pretty good on their stacks. They'll swap the items yet again. Piercing sight's about to be back up. Quite a while till next turret.
This is the first rail, but k1llsen still trying to use that tribal to full effect, but look how aggressive raisy is here. I'm liking this play, and k1llsen is going to get a little bit worried here with the pressure that raisy's putting on at the moment, but does back away, does take down that turret. k1llsen still directly above him, picking up the hourglasses, piercing sight in the next 12 seconds. He may just have to let him get a Mega, but heavy is still up, and raisy's just running his best as he can. But k1llsen, he's already done a lot of LG damage. Will that take him down? And yes, he does. And it does look like we're going to the final map. It took 12 minutes rather. I can't speak, but how long was he waiting for that opportunity? I can't believe that was how it ended.
Unbelievable. The patience there, the mental fortitude and all of that. I totally get where k1llsen was coming from. He had the potential rocket jump to the momentum, but you never want to be in the air and have your opponent's LG pointed at you. It was and you know what? It was at that point, that first cell hit, I'm certain that k1llsen thought, shoot, I probably just lost that game because of that.
That one moment, guys, that one moment at the teleporter down towards heavy machine gun.
My God.
How did it not end there? They both got out like
look at this.
We don't get to see the entire thing, but they both got out with 5 to 10 points of health, and then they still are looking for the angle, and here we go, the final float. raisy all tied up. It all comes down to the next one.
But k1llsen should have taken that battle, should have won that battle
He
at
should have.
TP
He
with the
absolutely
stack he
should have.
had.
I do agree, but you know what? You know, the telefrag, like all sorts of different things can go wrong in that situation. I think that raisy probably went through and was hoping to go back through for an escape. I don't even know if k1llsen was expecting that to happen, right? It's like, think about the number of decisions that were made just in that 2-second period of time. And I think both of them were probably looking at their own health going like, oh my God, get out of here. But didn't realize that, like, no, they both dished out a lot of damage to one another.
And they were both still looking at each other, like, just by a fraction, like a frame. And I still could, they were so tempted. But the thing is, though, k1llsen, that one rail could have won in the championship. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
But going into this last map, also raisy looking good with that kill pick.
I agree. I agree. We were actually talking about it behind the scenes at the Sex and he was like, wait, you favor Keel over Sorlek on this matchup? And
that was a good impression of him.
I was being very, very polite, very generous in that impression. But we were talking about it, and there's definitely people who would favor Keel in this matchup. Why? Because those grenades can help so much in a number of choke points. Because on the one hand, yes, Ruins, it's a larger map. It's got quite a few open spaces. That is not where Keel shines. But think of the choke point near the Mega. Think of the heavy area. Think of the rail, the LG. There's several areas where those grenades really do shine.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure then all of the Sorlag lovers are like, yeah, but I can zone with my spit. I can, like, set things up. But, you know, I do tend to agree with you. I think that the grenades can be much more punishing, can zone just as well. A little bit different, right? There's a solution to the spit. That's right? And that's like, whereas there's not always a solution if a well-placed grenade. I mean, we did see Chain earlier not only use that as a zoning, but ultimately earning himself a frag, different map, but an example of how that could happen. Now, on the flip side, k1llsen's got some nice air control, has some speed, so I don't know how this one breaks down, Flea, but I am so stoked that we are going to the final game. We are tied 3-3, and it all comes down to this.
Chat, make some noise. I want to see some focus for k1llsen. I want to see some raisy. Let us hear it. It all comes down to this. These 3 days of grueling matches. One map to decide it all.
Oh, around the corner, big rocket to open things up. Raisy. No armor stack left, and I don't know that we're gonna get much. It might be slow, but I think it'll be a calculated game, and then when the opportunities arise, we're gonna see an explosive action coming out. Already using those grenades for a little bit of zoning, but great rail coming out from k1llsen. Raisy already on the back foot, gonna be heading down. Mega has not been picked up, still being held on. Huge delay. There it is. That is a massive gap. Oh! Not expecting it. Probably not even knowing where his opponent was. And k1llsen's on the board with one.
I was not expecting Raisy to stick around when he was railable. He was so close to just getting over that threshold, but apparently didn't feel confident to pick up one of those health levels up there. Now k1llsen attempting to zone a bit with the toxic spit. Nice spread between the items too. We eat 10 seconds between Mega and Heavy, and that favors the more mobile one of the two, and that is k1llsen.
Yeah, I mean, look at these rails already coming out. Look at that stack that we're already seeing. And then down below, yeah, we do have the grenades coming out, but big opportunity. Huge rockets, but Raisy very, very low. The rocket to finish him up. k1llsen now with his second frag. He wants to set the tempo of this one. He wants to use that speed to his advantage. Spit comes out as he drops down to that heavy. Still a long time before that one spawns, but can head on over to the Mega. It is about ready to go, and he cannot get there in time. That's going to go to Raisy.
Raisy is relentless in his aggression right now. Spawns, gets a decent stack because he's a heavy tank, picks up LG, and he charges in, pushes. k1llsen manages to outmaneuver him, but still, Raisy applying constant pressure, has secured Mega, now takes himself heavy too. All he needs is one good rail to open things up fully.
Yeah, I mean, and the tables are turned right here in this situation. Gonna grab some hourglasses, have his spit ready again. Raisy with a great stack. k1llsen waiting just above that jump pad. Knows the timing of that heavy. I think heard his opponent drop down, decides to go ahead and get that light. And, you know, a couple of grenades getting eaten down there, and suddenly you're not so sure about going in there.
I like that play from k1llsen. Just preempting raisy going through the teleporter, laying down some of that spit, making sure that if you do go through, you have to waste another few seconds to get a bubble, nullify the effect of that AoE.
k1llsen also starting things off with an 80% rail. Those first few shots were immaculate, and there it's going to be one answered back by k1llsen and by raisy, and a second one coming out as well. Suddenly, Sorlag trying to get out of there. Opponent knows exactly where k1llsen is at this point, and so things slow down. The back hallway, an explosive start for k1llsen. He'd be happy to keep this lead.
Still very early in the game, Wheat. Not even 4 minutes in. k1llsen absolutely cannot just plus back and be on the defensive for the entirety of this map. He needs to still show presence. He needs to challenge raisy on the items. Not necessarily go all in, not even attempt to take them for himself, but he needs to consistently swindle down that stack of his opponent.
Ooh, good positioning there by k1llsen. Can't really get a shot or make it happen. raisy does catch the foot of his opponent there, peeking out of the side. Heard him go up that jump pad. And raisy just right now controlling all of the major items. Fortunately, there we go, first damage. Not the first damage, but opening up with this particular cycle with the rail.
This is the situation in which the Sorlag shines, though. A frag lead, significantly faster and more nimble than the opponent.
Yeah.
k1llsen is doing a very good job at being evasive, at being slippery. Reading raisy perfectly. And all raisy's been able to do is land a few rails here and there, but more often than not, k1llsen responds in kind. Nice rocket.
Yeah, I like that by k1llsen, right? Setting up is like, if my opponent's gonna go ahead and be on a rotation, how can I break that a little bit? LG from the top to the mid. Both players doing a lot of damage. Gonna commit to this one, and k1llsen takes it with a third frag, 5 minutes in. A little surprised to see that one. Thought that raisy might have the advantage there, but k1llsen held his ground, and nicely done.
Absolutely. 18 points of health. That was all separating him from death. And now raisy has to focus on recollecting those crucial weapons. He doesn't have everything in his arsenal that he needs to challenge k1llsen. And in doing so, he's basically giving k1llsen so much time, so much freedom to start that own cycle of the major items.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned the fact that the Sorlag likes to be a few frags up, and where it gets really scary is when that time begins to tick away. k1llsen's also landing his rails. He's not going to give you that room. He's been aggressive with his rails. He's been defensive with his rails. So you've got to deal with those and these flicks that are coming out from k1llsen. He was at 80% before. He's still at 75, Flea.
Railgun is really what has given k1llsen that leg up in this fight. This could have gone so differently if k1llsen had not landed 80% rail in those opening few minutes, and raisy had instead retaliated with that same intensity to get himself a lead.
Peeked down, saw his opponent, had the rocket launcher out. Wasn't a whole lot he could do, but said, don't want to be here. 6 minutes, 40 seconds. And what does raisy do? k1llsen now not giving him the opportunity to really make any sort of a moves. He might have to chase this one. Does go up the jump pad. Eats a lot of LG damage. k1llsen, though, a little bit low. raisy still with a decent stack. Another LG battle.
Somehow k1llsen is actually just winning these fights. Oh, rail misses. This is an opportunity for raisy. Can he get away? Yes. First frag on the board for raisy. Took a fair bit of damage. k1llsen spawns on a small armor as well. But it's raisy who is first on top of the mega. No, he actually decides to drop down instead, prioritize the heavy. No, rocket jumps back up. raisy just trying to go for both of them.
A big opportunity there to try to get that, but read it nicely, knew that that was probably where k1llsen was going. Wasn't really in a position to do that damage. Did try to stop from that LG, and ooh, big damage with that LG. He drops back down. That was a risky move, but he managed to get out of there. 7 minutes, 45 seconds. That's still, the time's ticking away. 2 frag lead through the teleporter. Spit comes down as well, delaying raisy a little bit more.
Heavy taken by k1llsen. Mega goes to raisy. k1llsen with a slight stack advantage at this point. Plus 2 frags of a lead and a significantly faster champion. This is an uphill battle for raisy, to be sure.
Absolutely. Here's his opponent above him. Has a lot of different ways can exit up that jump pad. Typically pretty safe to stay up there if your opponent has to go up. Now right above him, Spit is ready. Minute and 30, 90 seconds away from potentially being the champion.
One of the biggest issues that raisy is facing right now is that there's no time between the items.
Yep.
And this late in the game, he doesn't have the opportunity to start offsetting them either. He can't just sit around and delay it for 15 seconds because with a minute left on the clock, he needs to make something happen, and he needs to make it happen now.
Yep. Now k1llsen aimed outside that teleporter exit. Some of that stack ticking down, but k1llsen is not going to give raisy an inch. It could be a strategic win here for the final game after an explosive 2 frags at the beginning. Less than 45 seconds remaining. k1llsen looking for his plus back victory here. He has fought so hard all weekend long. Lost that very first map. People wondered if he could make it to here, Flea. 30 seconds remaining. And it may end like this, where raisy's gonna go in for the attack. Spit comes out, he's gotta make the shots. He can't, he's so low. k1llsen has plenty of stack, it ticks away, and raisy says GG, and k1llsen is your Quake World Champion for Season 3, winning this one down, taking it to the wire, 4-3. Raisy picking up another 2nd place, but k1llsen is your champion.
And look at him, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the relief. This was an extremely hard-fought battle, but he gets to claim the belt, and what a beautiful prize it is. k1llsen, congratulations.
It was hard fought, you think, especially after that Blood Covenant game that came down to the wire, the crazy, crazy teleporter. It obviously slowed down a bit there on Ruins, but you know there's an age-old saying when it comes to competitive gaming, and that is that you have got to play to win, and that is exactly what k1llsen did. Whenever he is ready, we'll bring him down to the desk to see how he feels. Congratulations to k1llsen.
Thank you.
Dan, welcome to desk. You got a question here for k1llsen?
I've got a statement first before a question, which is...
Oh my God.
Yeah, kill, hey?
Oh, the shade. The shade.
He knows what I'm talking about.
I just want to say that behind the scenes, we went around and we asked who's going to win. Everyone said raisy except for me. I said k1llsen.
Well done.
And that
well
happened.
done.
There we go.
Thanks,
There we go.
thanks
Wow.
for believing.
I need to clap
The
back.
double shade, the double shade. But forget all that. k1llsen, you did it. You brought it back. You had such a remarkable regular season. Came in as the #1 seed. You know, you had that first game. Or that first series, and you lost that map there, and you know, I'm sure there are some people like, I don't know, like k1llsen doesn't look like he's in great shape, but here you are holding the belt. I know this is what you expect of yourself. You worked so hard, but tell us, right, after a long series that went all the way, were you a little bit nervous going into that final game on Ruins, and how were you thinking about that matchup?
Like I wasn't. I didn't know what to expect at all because we didn't play this matchup a single time offline. That's just the thing. So I knew I was just like thinking Sorlek, his movement, yeah, works well on Ruins, so I'm gonna pick him. But I wasn't sure about Kiel. Like, you can also set up quite good traps on ruins with Kiel. So it kind of got me worried a bit. But in the beginning, like, I kept hitting my rails, rail after rail, and yeah, then I had the exact idea like what he's gonna do next, and yeah, I totally played him, outplayed him, and yeah, I mean, found him exactly in the spots where I wanted him to be, and then he needed to haunt me, and yeah, you're haunting a saw like on the ruins. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of lame, that kind of play style, but I mean, I did it for a reason, you know. That's
What you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't lame. It's all of these other incredible matches that we had going into it. I mean, you had the one map advantage. Did you expect that it was going to go the distance? Clearly, you were respecting one another in these matchups. We were watching it, and it was like we were commenting amazing amount of respect. But did you think it was going to go all the way to that final map?
I mean, there's always, it's Quake Champions, always the possibility, and I also saw like raisy has been stepping up his gameplay since I played him, so I knew he's gonna come here even stronger. I was like putting my bet a little that he's kind of feeling a little exhausted, but he didn't at all. So he still kept landing his shots, you know, and playing really patient, really. Yeah, he always knew what to do, so he made it quite difficult. And you know, on any other day, this could be his. And I'm, you know, shit, he's second again. It's kind of really, I can't believe like that I made it. Really,
You made it.
You sure did. k1llsen, I just want to ask, how close do you feel that this is to your top performance? This is a question that I know we've asked in the past, and you're always like, I'm at 90%, 95% of what I'm capable of. What was this?
I mean. We all have seen my fail on DM6, right?
We did see that. We did see that. Yeah.
I could have just clicked like ESC and click respawn. Would have been the same effect actually. So it's not like the. I mean, QuakeCon 3 years ago, I was at like 120%, and right now, I mean, I've been at 100 for such a long time now throughout the stage, and. You know, I just got the 100 just in time, and yeah, to make it happen actually.
Okay.
And maybe there were a few moments even there was like the 105 because my readings overall were actually quite well, and yeah, that's something that is not so easy to pull off when you're sitting at home and you know, just in front of your PC, and it's a different feeling.
Absolutely.
Well, congrats again, k1llsen. Well played.
You.
You mentioned you're at 100 now, and I think like you've put yourself onto the belt again for the second time, I believe, and you know you're reaching that level of Rafa in terms of. Is it? Oh gosh! All right.
How dare you?
Yeah, I actually feel right. Third time, so you're up there with the level of Rafa. So my question builds on that: is what is next for k1llsen? You know, what do the people at home expect to see over the next 6 months, year? Where are you going to take this forward? Can you be 120 again? Where are we going to go?
I mean, that's for sure where I want to be. Like, I felt the game so much 3 years ago, knew every step my opponents are going to make, and if they didn't appear in a certain amount of time, I knew exactly they're going to take some other route, and I exactly knew what kind of route they're actually going, and I could time every single route like to the second and knew every move. So that's where I would like to be again. So I'm always looking for that kind of thing. I'm not sure if it's ever going to happen again. That was like I was just in the zone there. But yeah, even now, like I've been in the zone. Like I knew what to do, and yeah, made it work.
Yeah, nice one.
Let's talk a little bit about the state of this tournament, right? As the winner, I think that you have a really probably great temperature in terms of one of the things that we've been saying, and we have said, wow, this is clearly one of the best tournaments that we've seen from day one all the way to the end. You know, no one was quite sure what might happen. There was absolutely a lot of open avenues for upsets and surprises. Would you agree, as champion of Season 3, that this was one of the most sort of diverse and talent-filled tournaments that we've seen in Quake Champions?
On the one hand, yes. I mean, some guys have been increasing in skill, but Yeah.
Oh, there's a but.
Also, the game has changed a little bit.
Sure, sure.
Some players might not have been able to adjust as quickly as others. That's how I would say it. It's not like that they are all shrunk together that much. It's just that some had like really big time issues to adjust to how it plays here on LAN. And I think a lot comes down to that because all of us were a little surprised.
So what you're saying is that there is a level above this. We just have to wait for it, and we'll get there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. I can live with that.
So I hear that more lands, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Must be. Must be. Gentlemen, any other questions?
I just want to know, like, to correct myself now, third time, is this the sweetest one for you?
Yeah, absolutely is. Yeah, really. I have to say, because of all the work I put in, like it's such a relief to be to hold this belt right now in my hands. You can't imagine. Like I could literally cry right now. That's how I feel. How overwhelming this is to achieve this, because I sacrificed so much time into practicing. I started practicing so early before the stage even started. You know, with the mindset of defeating Rafa. That was my first goal of the QPL stage, and I made it happen. Then I had a little knockdown by Wenger, and came back up again. And yeah, all the way. Like, it was so much work. It was so much sacrifice, and so much support from everyone. You know, like my girlfriend, my son, me also. I mean, I had to sacrifice time with him because I had to practice, especially last 3 weeks before the tournament. He had like holidays from school and everything, and yeah, you know, like it's one crying eye, one laughing eye. And
yeah.
It's a good way.
So yeah, that's actually how I feel like.
Right. Yeah. Just to build on that, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Anyone you want to thank? Clean in the camera, because you're clearly talking about people that mean a lot to you. So here's your chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to thank the k1llsen fam, the big fam, like you know, always supporting. Big thanks for the chat. You know, always believing in me, even sometimes I'm not delivering. And yeah, you know, always supporting, believing. I mean, my girlfriend, my family. Yeah, my son. He's also been wearing, like at home, has been wearing my jersey. So. You know, cheering for me. It's so it's just crazy, actually. Yeah, well, thank you, everyone. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm just speechless.
That is okay. You just became the Quake World Championship champion for Season 3. Once again, congratulations, k1llsen. Hard-fought battle through and through, and you absolutely deserved it. So thank you once again. I know you probably want to go and celebrate and take a breather, and you can do that right now. Thank you again so much. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Thanks.
Congratulations. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. Watch as the champion walks off with his belt there. Nicely done once again. Took it to the final game of the last series. So incredible what we saw here. Flea and Dan, thanks so much. It's been amazing. Obviously, want to give a shout out to the other broadcasters as well. Ketchup. I want to give a shout out to Lethal. Also want to give a big shout out to 40. Couldn't be here with us, but was holding it down over on the B stream. Was in chat the whole time, rooting along the way. Big thank you to PGL, Bethesda, all of the players, the fans, those challengers that brought it here, and we can't wait to do it again. Thank you so much for joining us over the course of 3 days. It's been absolutely amazing. Go check out Play Quake. Let this be your motivation. You could be standing right there, but you got to beat k1llsen first. Thanks so much for joining us on behalf of everyone here, the talent, the production crew in Bethesda, the Quake team. Thank you so much, chat. You've been good. I hope you behaved yourself. We will see you next year. We're out of here. Peace.